Chapter 5. The Westbound Train. Sophia awakens to a bronze glow. The morning sunlight is forcing its way through the motorhome's beige curtains. She rolls over to check the time on the microwave clock and almost jumps out of her pajamas. 11 o'clock came and went 20 minutes ago. She scolds herself for sleeping in so late. Little Gabriel is still out cold. Bixby is on the bed but awake, keeping watch over his new friend. Sophia debates whether she ought to let him sleep a little longer. Perhaps she and Bixby can hike to one of the nearby sandstone formations. But when she considers how frightened Gabriel might be to wake up and find himself alone, she abandons the idea and decides to make breakfast instead. A steaming pile of scrambled eggs is waiting for Gabriel when he stumbles from the bedroom 10 minutes later. He rubs his eyes and plunks himself down at the table. "How do you have eggs?" the boy asks. He is amazed to find that Sophia, 3 years into the end of the world, has food that lasts only a few weeks before going bad. "I raised chickens back in Denver," she replies. "I stock up every time I go home." Gabriel's mouth is already full of breakfast. Between chews, he says, "I haven't had eggs since before everyone disappeared." "We can gather more when we go back," she promises before digging into the pile on her own plate. Once breakfast is finished, Sophia shows Gabriel how to use the shower. She hands him a fresh powder blue shirt to wear, then leaves him alone to clean away the grease and grime of countless days, maybe years. When he emerges a while later, he looks like a brand new boy. His red hair is bright and bouncy, and his freckles appear more pronounced without a layer of dirt smeared over them. Even his eyes are clearer and more alive than last night. Sophia showers too, then turns her attention to readying the motorhome for travel. She secures her spare gas cans, always a good idea to carry plenty extra, onto the trailer behind the motorhome, tying them down with bungee cords and rope. Once she has double-checked the trailer hitch, she stows the awning and gauges the air pressure in the tires. "All set," she announces to Gabriel, who has been watching her work. "Ready to go?" With a smile wider than the Grand Canyon, he nods vigorously. Sophia calls to Bixby, who has been sniffing around one of the abandoned cars in the lot. He comes running and jumps into the motorhome, his tail wagging excitedly. He loves taking trips, Sophia informs Gabriel before adding, "although he might not be too happy that you're taking the front seat from him." 10 minutes later, Bixby has proven that two can sit shotgun as he lies happily across Gabriel's lap and stares out the open window at the passing scenery. The breeze crosses from Sophia to Gabriel, cool and refreshing, and promising a newer, happier adventure for both. They wind through the park's sandstone landscape before turning north onto a cracked and weed-choked highway. Here and there along the route, they see cars and semi-trucks, which, suddenly driverless, plowed off the road. Other vehicles simply stopped and stalled in the middle of the highway, as if some giant toddler forgot to clean up his oversized matchbox cars. The obstacles force Sophia to drive with caution. The last thing she wants is to break down so far from any city. Replacement motorhomes aren't easy to come by in these remote parts. "How did you learn to drive?" Gabriel asks, breaking a pleasant silence. Sophia shrugs and answers, "Just had to teach myself, since no one else was around." "I'm too short to reach any of the pedals," says Gabriel. "I tried once and crashed Mom's car right through the garage door." "Well, I'm actually cheating," admits Sophia with a sly grin. "You can see for yourself when we stop. I have fat pieces of foam attached to the top of the pedals, so I can reach 'em better." The boy grunts and mutters, "I wish I thought of that. Maybe I could have left Grand Junction." "I can teach you lots of the tricks I've learned. How to get more gas, how to hook up a generator to run electricity in the house, how to get fresh water from a well. Tons of good stuff." "Did you ever see anyone else besides me?" Gabriel's out-of-the-blue question takes Sophia by surprise. As if drawn by a powerful magnet, her mind is pulled back to Asheville. Even the earliest days alone in the new world did not hold the fear, the despair, the hopelessness she felt during her 2-day captivity. Just thinking about those hours twists her gut into knots. Eleanor. That was the old woman's name. Was. Not anymore. Dead people, she knows, don't use their names any longer. Yes, she finally answers. She wanted to lie, to let the memory stay buried with the dead woman in her basement. For some reason, though, it feels wrong to hide the truth. Really? Gabriel asks excitedly. Who? It doesn't matter, Sophia says softly. She's gone. For good. Gabriel reads her tone and changes the subject. Why did you come out here anyway, if you live in Denver? Well, responds Sophia, happy to discuss this new question. It's because I like exploring. I've traveled all over the country. Denver is where I go when I need to relax or restock my supplies. Where else have you been? He asks. Sophia stifles a laugh. When she first met him last night, he spoke so little she wondered if he'd forgotten how. Today, he is a typical 9-year-old boy who can't stop asking questions. New York City, D.C., Boston, all over the Appalachian Mountains. You know where those are? Gabriel nods and says, I think we went there when I was little. I remember staying at a cabin and there were lots of fireflies around. Sounds nice, Sophia tells him as she weaves the motorhome around a pickup truck occupying the middle of the road. Anyway, we can go wherever you want. I've got lots of books at home about cool places to travel. You can look through them and pick out a few you think look neat. Really? Gabriel looks as thrilled as the kids in the old Disney World commercials. That'll be so awesome. Definitely. It'll be fun, she promises. She bubbles with excitement at the thought of sharing her adventures with another person, even if that other person is a little boy. Bixby has been a good traveling buddy, but I have a feeling you'll be even better. Gabriel doesn't respond. When Sophia peeks over at him, she sees him staring out the window. A cheerful grin is plastered from one side of his freckled face to the other. 2 quiet minutes later, the highway exits the winding canyon and enters a flat, parched expanse of land. Like the edge of a jagged knife, mountain peaks rise upon every horizon. In these level plains between the mountains, Sophia can see for miles, and that means a quicker traveling pace. Long before reaching them, she can pinpoint and avoid vehicles or other obstacles in the roadway. Sophia spots an overpass not far ahead. This is where the highway meets up with the interstate. In following this eastward, they will find themselves in Grand Junction and, eventually, back in Denver. How did you get here? Gabriel asks as Sophia begins slowing for her turn onto the on-ramp. Sophia is puzzled by the question. With the motorhome. No, Gabriel exclaims. That's not what I meant. I mean, how did you get here? Last night you said you weren't around when everyone disappeared, so how can you be here now? Sophia cranks the steering wheel as she says, It's hard to explain. I don't exactly understand it myself. It's almost like I slipped forward through... But Sophia never finishes the thought. Like a reflex, her foot hits the brake when she glances sideways out her window. The squeal of tires is followed closely by the odor of burnt rubber, and the whole motorhome shudders as it screeches to a halt. What is it? Cries Gabriel. He is full of the same fear he showed the night before. Is something wrong? Are we in trouble? His words are like distant echoes in Sophia's ears, and her jaw hangs limp with disbelief. She squints, certain her eyes are playing tricks on her. What she has spotted is not only insane, it's impossible. Sophia? Gabriel whines. He sounds like he's about to freak out completely. She points north out her window and asks, Do you see anything? Gabriel pushes Bixby off his lap. He unbuckles his seatbelt and leans over Sophia for a better look. His light blue eyes flit back and forth, scanning the landscape for anything unusual. For a moment, his expression remains the same. Then his eyes go wide. Is that a train? He marvels, speaking with a dramatic whisper. I think so, replies Sophia, unable to trust what she is seeing. A mile away, a thin cloud of oily black smoke hangs in the air. Beneath it, a train is speeding westward, the opposite direction they are traveling. It isn't like the mile-long train Sophia used to see at the railroad crossing by her house in Pennsylvania. This train is only 3 cars long. There's an engine in front, a passenger car in the middle, and a second engine facing backward. "Do you know what this means?" Gabriel cries. "There are more people besides us. We aren't the only ones." The tightness returns to Sophia's chest and throat. Certainly there are people on board the train. Any idiot would know that. But what kind of people are they? In her imagination, she sees a train full of Eleanors, old women like the one she killed that escaped from in Asheville. A train full of twisted minds who would imprison her and Gabriel for no reason whatsoever. It was just her, she reasons with herself. It was just one time. Not everyone can be like that. No one else can be like that. You have a chance to find friends again. A family again. Don't give that up because of one horrible person. "What should we do?" Gabriel asks, tearing her away from her inner thoughts. Sophia realizes then that she isn't deciding for herself alone. She must also consider Gabriel. And she knows they both need more. "We are going to follow them," she announces. "We'll follow them and spy on them. Then, when we know they're safe, we'll talk to them." Gabriel whoops his excitement. "But," Sophia adds, "it means we won't be able to get your stuff in Grand Junction. Not yet, at least. You okay with that?" "Yes, yes." Ahead is a place to make a U-turn onto the westbound side of the interstate. Sophia wheels them around, and in moments they are traveling the same direction as the train. The change of circumstances is almost too improbable to believe. First Gabriel, and now this? Yet here she finds herself, with a human passenger sitting shotgun as they chase down even more. It is, at the same time, both exhilarating and frightening. Late into the afternoon they follow the train. There is one tense hour when they lose track of it in the hills of Fish Lake National Forest. But after a short stop to pour more gas into the motorhome's tank, the black smoke reemerges southwest of them, and Sophia again gives chase. Soon they see signs along the road for St. George, Utah. Sophia knows that beyond St. George lies the empty husk of Las Vegas. She prays the train will not go any further than Sin City, as it used to be called. The sun is dipping close to the horizon, and she doesn't know whether she can follow in the dark. All the while, Gabriel daydreams out loud about what kinds of people may be on board. Will there be boys and girls his age? Will there be moms and dads and families? He also wonders, and it breaks Sophia's heart to hear it, whether his own family could be among the mysterious passengers. All Sophia thinks about is where her weapons are hidden. They pass the turnoff for Zion National Park and stop for another fill-up north of St. George. Dusk has fallen, and the train is now so far from the road that they can only see it with binoculars. Fortunately, whoever is driving the train has turned on its lights, otherwise finding it would be almost impossible. Twilight has already swallowed the land, and Gabriel is asleep in the passenger seat when Sophia notices the train slowing down. She taps the brakes, and the motorhome does the same. Soon both have come to a complete stop. The train's lights darken, and Sophia also extinguishes those of her motorhome. She slides from her seat and tiptoes to the vehicle's rear, where she grabs a pair of blankets and pillows. After beckoning Bixby out of Gabriel's lap, she throws a blanket over the boy and props a pillow beneath his head. Then she settles back into the driver's seat and curls up around her own pillow. She doesn't plan to sleep. She plans to stay awake all night in case the train starts moving again. But the day has been long. Beneath the warmth of her cozy blanket, Sophia soon gives in to darkness and dreams.